I was born with optic nerve hypoplasia, which basically means that the optic nerve in my left eye is underdeveloped. I can't see at all, and when I graduated in 2016 from high school, I had a little notebook that I had people write stories in, or well wishes, or congratulations in, and my dad actually wrote a story about me being blind, but instead of me telling it, I'm going to let him take over and talk about it.
So when Lexi was very young, I can remember sitting around the house and watching her run around, doing her normal things as a baby would do. And she was always picking up crumbs, probably from myself, eating snacks here and there, crumbs that we couldn't see as adults with our own decent 20/20 vision, but she somehow could see them. So we weren't expecting anything to be abnormal at that point within her life. And she was a normal child, at that point to us. We had gone to see the doctor for one of her checkups when she was young, and he kept going back to her eyes back and forth. We kind of got nervous, wondering what was going on. He was spending a little more time than normal looking at her eyes. And then Dr. Gill told us that he was seeing something within her left eye that didn't seem right to him, and he wanted us to get transferred to Riley, to a specialist, to have her left eye checked out. A few months later, we went down to Riley. Although I cannot remember the doctor's name, it's been too many years, and I'm old now. We saw the specialist, and after certain tests that they could do, we found out that her optic nerve was indeed what I would consider undersized. And when we asked if that is something that she, would grow as she grew older, he said no. What we were born with is what we maintain our entire lives. We had some choices to make. One question I asked of the doctor was, could she have a transplant? So if I were to give up one of my left eye so she could have two good eyes, then, was that a possibility? And he said, yes, it was a possibility, but it would have to be done before she was 5 years old, based on the knowledge that the scientific world has of our brain. And if it was done after 5, she would have a much harder time of her brain adjusting to the second eye. It'd be hard on her to actually take and help her. At that point, the decision was made that she was doing good. She was in great health. Didn't see anything abnormal with her going on that was negative in her life. We decided just to stay the course and do what we could to help her with her one good eye, see her grow into that. And she was doing just fine. She would bump into a few things every now and then, but she learned as she grew older, how to adjust and use that right eye to gain strength and to see her surroundings much better. We were always nervous because at some point she'd want to play sports or do things, more physical that could pose a greater risk to her injuring her right eye, and thus, having the ability to possibly be blind in both eyes. But there was one afternoon, my wife's cousin, John Vetter, who was a Vietnam veteran. So when they arrived, he sat on the couch and was talking to us, and he had two very large hearing aids in both ears. And Lexi at this point was just 3 years old. Without anybody saying anything to her, she walked right up to the couch, climbed up onto John's lap, and looked at his ears and pointed to his hearing aids, and she asked him what those things were in his ears. He said, those are my hearing aids, and if he didn't have those in, he wouldn't be able to hear her talk. She immediately, I would say, as most adults would probably not do,
I didn't even remember this,
looked at him, patted him on the leg, and said, it's okay, you will be just fine. I'm blind in my left eye, and I'm doing just fine. And at that point, my wife and I both knew that she would be fine. So, getting back to the story, that was a very mature statement for a 3-year-old to make. She's grown older. We don't have any worries. As God would have it be, everything is good on everything we do in life.
I think some people, when they hear that I'm blind on my left eye, they don't think that I would be able to accomplish playing soccer, playing softball, dancing, driving. But yeah, so that's one little story from when my parents found out that I had optic nerve hypoplasia. Thanks for listening.